This is Algebra 1, Lesson 5.2. We're writing linear equations given a slope and a point. So what we're doing is we're using the slope in any point on a line to write an equation of a line, and we're going to look at real-life situations involving parallel lines, beginning on page 279. First thing you want to do, step one, is find the y-intercept. Uh, you want to substitute in your m, or your slope value, and the coordinates of whatever point you're dealing with, x and y, to find what b is. Remember, b is your y-intercept. So plug in m, x, and y, and the only variable you'll have left is b. Then solve for b. So then write the equation of the line. Substitute once you have b's value, then write y and x as variables again, and plug in m and b, just like we did when we were given a slope and a y-intercept, and we wrote an equation, y equals mx plus b. Let's look at an example that shows us exactly what all of that means. Write an equation of a line passing through the point, negative 3, 5, that has a slope of 2. First thing you want to do is find the y-intercept. So what we're looking for is we're looking for b. Because the slope, or because the line has a slope of 2, or m is equal to 2, and it passes through negative 3, 5, you could substitute those three variables. You could substitute those values for each of those three variables. M's value is 2, x's value is negative 3, y's value is 5. Make sure you don't mix up x and y. So y equals mx plus b. All we did, in place of that equation, we plugged in 5 where y was, 2 where m was, and negative 3 where x is, or where x was. B is the only variable that's left, so we're solving for b. Remember, before you try to undo anything, you need to simplify. 2 times negative 3 gives you negative 6. So 5 is equal to negative 6 plus b. Now you can't put b and negative 6 together. Now you need to undo the fact that it says negative 6, which means minus 6. So you add 6 to both sides. Time to undo. When you add 6, 6 plus 5 is 11, or 5 plus 6 is 11. Now you have b's value 11. We were given m's value originally, which was 2. So you have m's value 2. Now what you want to do is write an equation, y equals mx plus b. So your slope, or your slope is 2, your y-intercept b is 11. So write an equation again, y equals mx plus b. Y is going to be y, x is going to be x. You're just plugging in or substituting in m and b. M's value is 2, b's value is positive 11. So y equals 2x plus 11. So the first thing you do is find b. Once you have b, plug in b and m. Very simple. So on the back, let's take a look at this problem. Write an equation that passes through point negative 3, 0 with a slope of 1/3. First thing I want you to do is find b. What is b's value? Take about 30 seconds to find b, and then we'll work on the rest in the 30 seconds. Okay, again, there's two parts of this that make it a little tricky. Y equals mx plus b, slope-intercept form. This is x, this is y. So in place of x, we're going to plug in or sub in negative 3. In place of y, we're going to sub in 0. In place of m, we're going to sub in 1/3. You have plus b still. So notice when we plugged everything in, 0 is equal to 1/3 times negative 3 plus b. Now, this is 0 was one of the tricky parts because you had to know to plug in 0. The other tricky part is because it has a fraction. Now you can address this one of two different ways. On the bell work, we said, well, let's get rid of the fact that it says divide by 3 or 1/3 by multiplying everything by 3. That's not necessary, and you can do that, and it's totally fine. It's not necessary in this reason for one simple reason is because 1/3 of the number 3 is an easy number to multiply. 1/3 times 3 would be 1, but since it's a positive times a negative, it's -1. So -1 plus b is equal to 0. If you multiplied everything by 3, it'll be fine. You'll just have 3b, and 0 times 3 would still be 0. So from here, in order to find b, to get it by itself, you undo the fact that this says -1 or -1 by adding 1. If you do it to the right side, you have to do it to the left side. So b's value then is 1. So when we found b's value, it's 1. Now that you have b and you were given m originally, m's value is 1/3, you can write, this is not your equation. Neither one of those is the answer to this problem. But that's what you use to write the answer. You simply write it as y equals mx plus b. And you plug in m's value or sub in 1/3 right there. And you plug in b's value, positive 1. So y equals 1/3 x plus 1. That is the equation to satisfy the problem. Example number 2 deals with parallel lines. It says two non-vertical lines are parallel if and only if they have the same slope. Write an equation of the line that is parallel to the line y equals -1/2 x minus 3, and it passes through the point 2, 1. Remember, when lines are parallel, they have the same slope. It even reminds you of that in the problem. So if you're looking at the equation y equals -1/2 x minus 3, its slope is -1/2, or its m value is -1/2. That is the only value that we're interested in when you're dealing with parallel lines. M's value is -1/2. It passes through the point 2, 1. So y equals mx plus b. Just like a minute ago, we could plug in each of those values. In place of y, we plug in 1. In place of x, we plug in 2. And in place of m, we plug in our m value, which was parallel to the other one, -1/2. So 1 is equal to -1/2 times 2 plus b. So there's only one variable left over. We can solve for b. Again, this says divided by 2. We can multiply everything by 2. Or we can just say, well, half of the number 2, if we multiply them just like this, half of 2 is 1. And a positive times a negative is -1. So 1 is equal to -1 plus b. And then in order to get b by itself, you get rid of the -1, which means -1, by adding 1 to both sides. When you add it here, you got to add it here, and b's value is 2. Now you have b's value of 2, and we had the slope value originally, -1/2. You can write your equation, y equals mx plus b, and you would write your equation as y equals mx plus b. M is -1/2 x, and plus b is positive 2 would be the equation. Y equals -1/2 x plus 2. I'll just continue it on the next page. Y equals -1/2 x plus 2. You can check these equations by graphing them to make sure that they are parallel lines. The first equation was y equals -1/2 x minus 3. That was the first equation. That was the one given to you originally. -1/2 x minus 3. Now we know these lines are parallel because they have the same slope, but graphically you can check both of them. Remember, you begin at your b value. So your b value for the first equation is -3. That is here. negative 3. Then your slope, your m value, is negative 1 over 2. That tells you to go down 1 and to the right 2. So down 1 and to the right 1, 2. The other equation, y equals negative 1 half x plus 2, your b value tells you to begin at 2. That's right here. Your slope value, again, is the same as the other one. Negative 1 over 2 tells you to go down 1 and to the right 2. So down 1 and to the right 2. And you can see that those lines are parallel. On the back or on the side, write an equation parallel to this line, y equals negative 3x minus 2, that passes through the point 3, negative 4. Let's take about 1 minute on that one. Just like the other problems, the first thing we need to do is find a b value. It says the lines are parallel. That means they have the same slope value. So y equals mx plus b. Your m value then is negative 3. So we're going to use the slope of negative 3. So if y is equal to mx plus b, we're going to plug in each of the values that we have to find what we don't have. Y's value is negative 4. So in place of y, negative 4 equals m's value is negative 3. So in place of m, negative 3. X's value is 3. So in place of X, we're plugging in 3. And then B is the one value we don't have. So negative 4 equals negative 3 times 3 plus B. Multiply negative 3 and 3 and get negative 9 plus B is equal to 4. Then undo the fact that it says minus 9 or negative 9 by adding 9 to both sides. If you add it to the right, add it to the left. 4 plus 9 is 13. Again, this is not the answer to the problem. B is not equal to 3 is the answer to the problem. The problem is when you write it as an equation, y equals mx plus b, and you plug in or sub in those two values. In place of m, you sub in the value that was parallel, negative 3, and in place of b, you plug in the new value you just got, positive 13. Here is your equation, y equals negative 3x plus 13. So with the first few checkpoint problems, you're given an m value. You're given them on 4 and 5 as well, but you don't have, you have to know that they're parallel lines. So what you need to do is find b. Y equals mx plus b. This is x, this is y. So 4 equals 2 times 2 plus b in order to find what b is. 2 times 2 is 4. So 4 equals 4 plus b. In order to get b by itself, you subtract 4 on both sides. b then is equal to 0. So you have a y-intercept. You are already given a slope. So your equation then is y equals mx plus b. Your m value originally was 2. So in place of m, 2x, and your b value we just found is 0 plus 0. There's no reason to write plus 0, so our equation is simply going to say y is equal to 2x. Number 2, find b's value again. Y equals mx plus b. Y is 2 equals m is negative 3. That's m here. Times x is negative 3 plus b. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9 plus b is 2. Subtract 9 on both sides. B is 2 minus 9 is negative 7. Again, y equals mx plus b. M's value was given to us originally, negative 3, and b's value we just found, minus 7. Y equals negative 3x minus 7. Number 3 presents us with one of those instances where we have a fraction that we probably want to get rid of. So y equals mx plus b. Negative 1 equals m is 1/2 times x's value is negative 5 plus b. The reason that we want to get rid of 1/2 is because you can't take half of an odd number like negative 5. So it says divided by 2. If we multiply this, and this by 2, it'll get rid of that fraction for us. Negative 2 equals this goes away. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5 plus 2 times b. So again, we got bigger numbers, but we're not dealing with fractions anymore. Undo, now you have 2 steps to undo here. Undo minus 5 by adding it to both sides. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3 equals 2b, and then undo 2 times b by dividing by 2 on both sides. So b is equal to 3 over 2. This is not the answer to the problem. Remember, y equals mx plus b is the equation. Y equals mx plus b. M's value was given originally 1/2 x, and b's value we just found, positive 3 over 2. Y equals 1/2 x plus 3 over 2. Number 4, these say these lines are parallel. We're going to do them the same way. You need to know, since they're parallel, they have the same slope. That means this m value then is 5. So it's just like 1, 2, and 3. So y equals mx plus b. Y is 6 equals m's value is 5 times x's value is negative 2 plus b. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10 plus b is 6. Add 10 to both sides. B then is 16. So y equals mx plus b. M is 5x plus b plus 16. Same thing with number 5. 3/4 is your m value. So m, not 3/4, but negative 3/4. So y equals mx plus b. Negative 7 equals m is negative 3 over 4 times x is 3 plus b. Here's one of those instances again where you want to get rid of divide by 4. Multiply everything by 4 then. 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. This cancels out this and leaves you with negative 3 times 3, and 4 times b is plus 4b. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9 plus 4b equals negative 28. Then get rid of negative 9 by adding 9 to both sides. Opposite signs there, subtract them. 18 minus 9 is 9. 1 minus 0 is 1, and keep the larger absolute value. 4b is equal to negative 19. Divide by 4 on both sides. b is negative 19 over 4. So then y equals mx plus b. This turns into a long problem. y equals mx plus b. We just found b's value is negative 19 over 4. M's value originally was negative 3 over 4. Y equals negative 3/4 x minus